Professor McEwen here, and what this video is about is how to effectively use the endnotes for your writing. This is required for all my history classes, whether you have to do discussion or research papers. So let's get started. So what we're looking at here is an example of a portion of a paper. So as we see here, as it says, as the Europeans settled in the Native Indian land, they had encountered such animals they had never seen and crops they never heard of. For example, it was stated in the textbook America by David Emery Shee, quote, Europeans had never encountered iguanas, buffaloes, cougars, armadillos, opossums, nor had Native Americans seen the horses, cattle, pigs, sheep, goats, chickens, and rats that had soon flooded the Americas. End the quote. All right. Now here are things. This is a good source of information, but here's how to make it a little bit better. First and foremost, what you don't need to do in this class, because all it is fluff, is write in there, for example, as stated in the textbook, and then you're using the entire full name of the author. This is what I call fluff. So just delete it. Okay. The second thing we notice here is I want you to use most of your writing, not David Shee's or my lectures or anything else from the sources you're allowed to use for the class. This in itself is almost 30 words. So we need to break that up a little bit and keep it down to 15. Okay? So what we will do is we will stop with the opossums in the quote. And then what we could add is it was not only Europeans that encountered the strange animals, but and then bring the Native Americans in here as well. Okay, this makes it read a little bit better. Now, the next step is, well, how do you put in the end notes, those funny little numbers? Well, that's an excellent question. So right after the quotation, because in Chicago Manual of Style, it is required that you must have what you're using from the source to be in quotations, as you can see here. That has to be quoted. Now, the next step is to put in the end note number. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go all the way up to the toolbar until we get to this X component, as you can see here. X2, all right? So in order to make that work, click here and then click on the X2. Since this is the first endnote you're using, you use number 1. Boom, okay? And then go to the next one. Click on the X component, click number 2. Enter the endnotes. They're called endnotes because they come at the end of the writing. Whereas if you try to use footnotes, they'll come at the bottom of the page. So let's just stick with endnotes, shall we? So when you're doing endnotes, you write endnotes, and then at the bottom, as you can see here, the source that's being used is David Emery Shee. You use the first name, middle name, and last name. Then there's a comma. Then the name of the textbook. Here it is, America, A Native History. And then in parentheses, the city in which it was published, New York, the publisher, Norton, comma, the year of publication, 2019, in parentheses, comma, and then the page number. Now, understand, this is very important. You only give the full information from the source once, only once. So the second time you're using it in succession, all you have to do is just basically copy here, G America. I'm going to copy it and put it here, okay? And then the page number. If it's the same page number as page 40, you don't need to put a page number because I, as the reader, would understand that. But let's say for giggles, this came on the next page, 41. All right. Now, the third time in succession, or let's say you've already used David Emery Shee, and somewhere down the line you use, let's say, a different source. What I've done here is I'm pretending that this second source was actually from one of my lecture videos. So what the student will put, just similar, is my first name, last name, and then the name of the video lecture. Now, these are only the video lectures that you retrieve from the content section under the modules. Or if you're in my face-to-face class, the title of the lecture for that day. Consult your syllabus and you'll see it. Then, and this would be in quotation marks, the video lecture, and then the class you're in, whether it's AMH 2010, AMH 2020, or EUH 2000, that would be listed, colon, then the name of the class. So for this purpose, it's United States History to 1877. Then in parentheses, have class lecture, comma, since this is done at Daytona State College, comma, where's this located? Daytona Beach, Florida, comma, and the day you watched or assessed the lecture. Here we see February 1st, 2022, and then end in parentheses. Now, should there be a third end note as you continue your writing, this, of course, as you can see, she, America, 41 makes sense because you don't need to put the full information again. The same would be as, let's say for the fourth end note, it was one of my lectures, then you just, cut and paste here and put it right here. All right. Now, that's similar for the lectures as well. So let's just take my name out of there, because here's something that you use again. Let's say you're using the source she right after you have already done it a second time. Then this is called IBID. This is telling the reader that you got this from the same source as the one before, and then you put the page number, okay? And you can keep on using IBID, as you can see. And then the page number can change, 43, but if there is no page number, that is just telling me this is the same page number as before. If you have any more questions, please contact me and see me during my office hours, and hopefully now you'll know how to effectively put in your end notes.